Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, hey everybody, and welcome back to The Virtual Chef. My name is Joshua, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make homemade pasta, spaghetti specifically, with a tomato, basil, and garlic sauce to go on top of it, as well as some Parmesan and herb Italian bread.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey. New kitchen.
Yes. Oh,
They
yes,
have
by
not
the
seen
way,
it.
We are in a different kitchen. You may have noticed the one we're normally in is on one side of this apartment. It's a duplex, and we've got the other side now. Bigger kitchen, more space to work, and better for stuff. Like the rest of the video.
Oh my God, we're doing a bread. Ah!
And now, without further ado, let's get started on the Italian bread. First off, into the bowl of our stand mixer goes 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast, 1 tablespoon each of oregano and basil, as well as a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, 1/4 cup of olive oil. I'm using extra virgin, but it doesn't really matter that much. And also 1 cup of warm water. Put that down in the bowl of the stand mixer, set it to speed number 2, and knead it until it all comes together. You know the dough's ready when it forms a ball, and it does not stick to the side of the bowl anymore. It just stays together just like that.
I heard you were going to shape some bread.
Yes, I will take this dough ball and make it bread shaped and not lump shaped. You want to watch?
Yes.
Okay, we'll get out of the way. So the first thing you want to do is take your dough ball, press it down into a rough rectangular-ish shape. Fold the front forward, fold the back up, press it down, take the sides, fold them in, press them down, fold the front back towards you again, press it down to form a seam, and just roll it out into a long log. That's it. Now just cover it up and leave it to rise for about 45 minutes or so.
Well, Steercat's conquered the tomatoes for you, and what do you got going on over here?
All right, so for our sauce, we're starting out with fresh tomatoes. I'm going to use about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 of them. These are medium-sized tomatoes. So the first thing we're going to do is take out this core right here. To get your knife in at just a bit of an angle and work it around the core. Which I can never do this properly on camera, but you get the idea. Once you get that out of the way, turn it over. You're going to make a score, which is just a very, very thin slice just in the skin in the pattern of an X. Over here, we have some boiling water. Each tomato is going to go down into the water for about 30 to 45 seconds, just until we see the skin begin to peel off. Then it's going to go into a bath of ice water, so you want to get that ready before the tomato goes into the boiling water. Because my pot's not super deep, I'm rolling the tomato around. That way the top and the bottom all get access to the hot water. Are you drinking the ice water?
Yes, why?
Well, it's clean, so that's okay. Okay, so you can see right here that the skin is already starting to separate a little bit. Now, we're going to put it into this ice water bath. That's going to shock it because it's going from hot to cold really fast, and that's just going to make that skin really, really easy to fall off. Find where you made that score, grab a piece of skin, and watch that. It just comes off. You don't even really have to try. You just wipe your finger along it, and it's all gone. There we go. I'm putting the skin back into the ice water out of the way. Now, let's seed this tomato. Take your knife, cut it from top to bottom. You'll see all these little pockets of seeds. You can really just get your thumb up under there and rake them all out. Alright, so I'm working with 3 medium to large cloves of garlic. To prep this, you start off by cutting off that little woody stem at the end. Throw that away. Take the flat of your knife, put it on the garlic. Palm of your hand, straight down on the knife. And we don't have to cut this up much because it's going into the food processor. with our tomatoes. As soon as you get it to that stage peeled, throw it straight into the food processor.
And then explain to Chef Pay.
We're cheating and using a food processor. We could use a potato masher and cut up the tomatoes and do it that way, but sorry. Hello.
Hello.
Now, it is time to get some herbage into our sauce. Have fresh basil and fresh oregano. Just going to pick the leaves of the basil right off of the stalk and put them into the sauce.
Are we going to hear the music this time?
Well, I don't know. The food processor is going to be pretty loud, so I don't know if you can hear it over the sound of the food processor.
Oh no.
By the way, same thing with the oregano. Just going to pick off the leaves from the stalk and put them in there. All this stuff is going into the bowl of our food processor. The lid goes on top. We're just going to pulse it a few times first to start to break up all these ingredients, and then set it to medium speed for a bit to get it all incorporated, mixed up, blended together. All right, now go to medium for about 10 to 15 seconds, and then we'll check it and see where it stands. Seconds. Okay, so let's just get a quick look at the sauce itself. This is what it looks like pre-cooked. I've got my Instant Pot pressure cooker here. If you don't have an Instant Pot or a pressure cooker in general, you actually can do this on the stovetop. It'll take you a lot longer, but makes it a lot easier for us. Anyway, pour your sauce right into the pot of the Instant Pot. And let me reach around here so I can see what I'm doing. We're going to set it for 10 minutes, and the way that you do that on this model is press the manual button, and then press the plus or minus depending on what it defaults to get it to 10.
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright, so by the way, what we did when we set the Instant Pot on is we set the pressure release valve to venting. So instead of actually pressure cooking, it was more so just sucking out the moisture, and all of the steam came out and just evaporated out all the excess from the tomatoes. If you'd like, we can take a look at it. Probably going to fog up the lens a little bit, but you can see we have a nice, thicker, rich tomato sauce. And we've got this on the keep warm function. Actually, it's on off right now, but we're going to keep it warm until the pasta is ready, and we'll be getting to that very soon. Now, for our pasta. We've got all kinds of complicated ingredients going into this. In fact, there are 3 entire ingredients. All-purpose flour. All 3 ingredients. All-purpose flour, 2.5 cups to be specific. Into the food processor, again. Chef Pay says, why don't you just put the flour on the board, make a well, put the eggs in the center. 3 large eggs. And a tablespoon of olive oil. Lid on the food processor. We're going to put it on medium speed until it comes together into a ball, more or less. Hopefully. Now you can see it's starting to come together. It's still very sandy, very grainy. You might have heard that beep. That was my oven saying it's ready for bread. We'll get to that shortly. At this point, we want to turn it onto the cutting board and knead it by hand for just a bit till it all comes together. And this is the same motion you would use for kneading bread. Grab the front, pull it forward, press it down on the palm of your hands, rotate, and repeat until you have a nice smooth dough ball. After that, you want to cover it up and let it rest for at least half an hour. This is going to help to relax the gluten molecules, not molecules. It's going to help to release the gluten protein and allow us to cut it without it trying to retract back in on itself. Because if you don't let it rest, you'll try to roll it out flat. Instead, it's just going to shrink back into itself. We don't want that. So after we've worked on all the other stuff, our bread's just been kind of hanging out by itself. It's risen till it's about doubled in size. My oven is preheated to 375 degrees, and I've placed a pie pan full of water on the bottom rack to create a little bit of steam, a nice humid environment to help brown the crust of this bread. It's going to make a nice spongy texture. So what I'm doing now, I have a serrated, it's actually a steak knife. I'm going to make 3 scores in the bread. This is both going to make that nice. So now I've got a serrated steak knife, and I'm going to make 3 scores in the bread. What this is going to do is both create those nice diagonal lines you may be used to seeing on breads in cartoons, and also it's going to allow the bread to rise up more than out. And it's just going to make it look real nice all around. So first start out by getting your angle diagonally like this, then tilt it forwards so it's inwards just a bit. Align it up, quick score right down the middle, or right through. After you do this, it goes straight into the oven for about 30 minutes. We'll check it at 20 minutes to see how it's doing. But 30 is about its final cook time. Hey, guess what? The bread's done. Let's take a look at this. Just going to transfer this onto a cutting board. And it's going to rest over here. That was a nice sound. And what I like to do as soon as it comes out of the oven is brush a bit of olive oil over the top. And then we'll just let this rest while we work on wrapping up the pasta. Alright, so our pasta dough has rested for about 35.5 minutes. And what we'd like to do to test to see if this is ready to go is to find a spot on the dough and just push down with your finger. If it stays, it's ready. It's popping up just a little bit, but the idea is we don't want it to suck back into itself in the roller. I think this is good to get started. Go ahead and unwrap it. And we're going to divide it into about 6 pieces. Usually for me, the easiest way to do that, start by cutting it in half. And then cut each one of those into thirds. Alright, so starting with this section of dough, by hand, you want to press it down into a rough rectangle. And then go ahead and set your machine to, we're using a pasta roller here. This is just a hand crank manual version. You probably can't see the number, but we're going to set it to its lowest setting, which is 1 in this case. Take your dough, put it right up there on the top of it, and start to slowly crank it through. To help us get nice flat edges from here, you can take the dough, fold it over partially, take this part, and fold it over, overlapping to make a packet. Then we just run it through again. And we'll repeat this a few times before we start making it thinner and thinner. If you find your dough is sticking at all to the roller, if you get just a little bit of cornstarch and coat your board with it, we'll make a light coating each time we go through until it no longer sticks. By the way, after we dredge this into the cornstarch, you don't want to fold it anymore, because if you do, you're going to get these little weird pockets of cornstarch in the middle that don't absorb, and it's just, you don't want to do it. So we're just going to barely run it through that. Bring it to the roller again. Slowly. Make sure it doesn't do what it was trying to do there. Now at this point, we'll bring it up a little bit at a time. This is going to make it nice and long and thin. So this is just one of our little pods of dough cut up into noodles, and we're going to cook these first just to show you what to do. We'll work on the rest of them off camera later. Here we've got a pot of salted boiling water. I'm going to slowly drop our noodles into there. I'm kind of separating them a little bit more as I go to make sure that they're not stuck together. And just give them a little light toss with a pasta spoon, pasta server. I'm trying to call this a pasta cooker. This is a pasta cooker. I'm going to cover that up and go ahead and let it cook for a little bit longer. Alright, here comes our pasta. It's cooked just for about 3 to 4 minutes. It cooks way faster than dry pasta because it's already hydrated, you know. And it's just got to cook. Nice, really long spaghetti noodles. I'll come back for the rest. Well, no, never mind. I was going to leave these and come back for them, but you know me, I can't not get it all. All right, so over we go to our sauce. Spoon a little bit of that over onto the top. Seeds. By the way, you can still see some seeds in these tomatoes. So if you are a chef trainer or an Italian grandmother, you would most definitely fire us for this sauce. But we're just here to eat, and we're happy with it. And how about we get into some bread too? Let's see what happened with this Italian bread. Let's go ahead and slice off that end piece really quick, get that out of the way. That's for me. Let's take a look at the crumb. The idea here is it's a nice spongy loaf that can soak up the sauce. So just go ahead and get a couple slices. There we go. Right here by our pasta. We're ready to serve. And now, for the moment that none of us have been waiting for. The part where I show you that the food that we've made is actually somewhat edible. Here we've got our pasta. You just saw us putting this on the plate. The only addition is we threw some Parmesan on the top. And I'm going to be boring and cut the spaghetti instead of bringing up a gigantic noodle. That came out way better than the last time we did it. You don't have to know that, but trust me, we mess stuff up almost as much as we make it right. Before you get to see us do it right, we tried it and screwed it up more times than any of us care to admit.
Hey, you know,
Yep.
you might want to tell our viewers what happened to your head.
To my head.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the lack of hair?
Yes.
Well, I underwent a hair reduction surgery. I cut it off because it's summertime and it's hot, so here we go. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this. Hope you try to make pasta yourself if you've never done it before. I'm going to put some links in the description if I remember how to do it on the pasta roller we use, the KitchenAid, some other types of equipment we've used in this video for you to check it out. But anyway, that's all we got for next week. I hope you like the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see you soon.